In today's video, I want to talk about how you can find the 12 zodiac signs in the Bible, right? And I'm going to make many more videos just decoding a lot of the stories like I do on my TikTok. But I am obsessed with this stuff, guys, and this is just my wheelhouse. I love to understand what these wise people were talking about. And, I think that the people who run our world very much know this knowledge, and I love to feel like I'm a part of that, right? I think that they very much try to hide it from us. And so when you start to gain this knowledge and understand this stuff for what it's really saying, I don't even know how to explain how your brain almost just is like exploded with like light. It takes you to higher levels of consciousness, and it truly is amazing to be able to connect so many different things. And so, I want to start off by talking about how a lot of, and I discussed it a little bit in my last video when I talked about how Christianity became the main religion. But I want to talk about how, all of the texts that we have and the Bibles that we read to this day were not the original texts and manuscripts, and they were very different, right? They believed very different things. They were into alchemy. They were into knowing about energy and astrology, and they were mathematicians, and they were very intelligent. And, a lot of our Bible is taken from things like the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Book of Dead. These are some of the oldest writings that you can find. And I want to talk about the Emerald Tablets for a second, which is also one of the oldest writings you can find by Thoth. And he starts it off by saying, that from which is above is from that which is below, and that from which is below is from that which is above, working the miracles of one. Okay, and there's more to it. He talks about the sun and the moon and all these things, but what he's really talking about is how we are the microcosm of the macrocosm, right? We are many universes. What is happening above us is very much having an influence on us. And I wasn't going to get into this, but I'll talk a little bit on it. But the 7 planets, the luminary planets, right? And they knew this. You can look at old artwork and just see this. And their hieroglyphics were not meant to be read literally, right? Just like how the Bible is not meant to be read literally. It literally says in the Bible that Jesus only talks in parables. So the hieroglyphics, they knew that the 7 luminary planets is how we go from spirit form to matter form. Remember, your body is temporary, and we are all spirit. We go back to spirit when this is over. That's how the reincarnation process happens, if you believe in that. But so what do I mean when I say we go from spirit to matter, right? So you have your 7 luminary planets, which is the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, okay? These certain planets have certain roles, you can say. And think of it as just little holes in the sky that shoot out frequencies that have an effect on us, okay? So Saturn, for instance, when Saturn is retrograding or is in your zodiac sign, you will start to, life will reflect that for you, right? What is it that you need to work on, right? Because Saturn is the planet of rebellion and lessons. And so a lot of people will start to, something bad will happen and they look at it negatively, but it's really just all about lessons and life. And, Earth and this realm is always reflecting back to you who you are, and that is something important to remember. So all these planets have an effect, right? Mercury retrograde happens. Why do you think all your exes start to hit you back? And it's really a thing, and it's because Mercury is the planet of communication and things like that. So learning that kind of stuff is important when you're trying to start to decode and get into this stuff and understanding this stuff. And, I think nowadays it's just looked at as, it's just this new age stuff. And a lot of people do get stuck with just the astrology stuff, and they really don't even understand the depths of it and the true meaning of it. But I want to talk about, we're going to get into a little bit of the Vatican and their role. And I wanted to really talk about how you can find the 12 zodiac signs in the Bible and just throughout different artworks like Vinci and Michelangelo. And so I'm going to read off my phone, and I have my notes right here as well. But The Vatican, in like the early 1900s is when it became a thing. And, this is a library that is full underneath, miles long. You guys would be even imagine. They have over 80,000 original manuscripts, texts, things that survived the fires at, like the Library of Alexandria, and just some of the oldest writings and texts. And a lot of it is written in Hebrew, Latin. And, I often think to myself, is that why we really don't know Hebrew and Latin? It's not the main language we use anymore, and we use English now. And I think it's because, I look at the Roman period and back then as the New World Order, and I know a lot of people look at it as now, but no, a long time ago, you had these people who very much knew how the world worked, and everybody knew it at this time, right? It was normal for people to be alchemists and to understand the true knowledge, and that astronomy, mathematicians, geometry, philosophy, all of this stuff was so important back then. And we have strayed very far away from how we used to live and to be. Now we are filled with so much low vibrational things. We're in this rat race where we feel like we have to work and live this way, when it was not like that before. And I think there's a disconnect between there, where I think people don't really understand this. And they want you to live like this. They want you to be attached to the material world, right? They worship Saturn, and you can look at a lot of pictures and you're wondering why the Illuminati, like these celebrities, they have Saturn in their videos and things like this. And it's only because Saturn is the planet of matter, right? It's the last level you go through, basically frequency, which gives you your body. And they want us to be addicted to material things, and that is how you stay on the wheel of karma, by not spiritually evolving and learning that Christ consciousness is really what the goal is, and to heal those relationships with your family, and so on and so forth. So yeah, let's just get right into it. I just wanted to talk on that a little bit. Y'all know I be yapping in the beginning. Sometimes I just have so much to say. Let's get into the Vatican a little bit and talk on that. So the Vatican, officially known as the Vatican City-State, serves as the spiritual and administrative center of the Roman Catholic Church. It became an independent state in 1929, following the signing of Lateran Treaty between the Holy See and Italy. However, its history as a religion site dates back to early Christianity, with its most famous building, St. Peter's Basilica, first commissioned by Emperor Constantine in the 4th century. Constantine's conversion to Christianity led to significant contributions to the church, including the establishment of St. Peter's Basilica. And I just recently, yesterday, made a video on how Christianity became the central religion, and how it got pushed out through Rome, and Constantine had a vision, a dream, and all these things. And that's really when I think the New World Order started, when they started to erase all of history. You had all these mudslides, fires, you can look that up. That was one in every single city and state. Like, it's crazy that happened. They got rid of so much original things in history. And I really feel like everything we've been told is a lie, basically, and hidden. Okay, so the Vatican's role as a center of Christianity grew throughout the centuries, particularly after the reforms of Pope Gregory in the 16th century. The Vatican Apostolic Library, established by Pope Nicholas in the 15th century, was created to preserve religious and scholar works, particularly manuscripts in Greek, Hebrew, Latin, and other ancient languages. This library today houses one of the most extensive collections of manuscripts in the world. The Vatican's collection includes approximately 80,000 volumes of manuscripts, many of which are unique or very rare. Among these significant holdings include the Codex Vaticanus, a 4th century Greek manuscript of the Bible, which is one of the oldest and most complete copies of the scriptures. Additionally, the Vatican holds thousands of ancient texts, including works on theology, history, philosophy, and the sciences. Some of the early books, the original Bible texts that we have no idea about or know anything about, the Oldest Testament, which was in Hebrew Bible, called the Tanakh, originally written in Hebrew and some in parts in Aramaic. by various Jewish authors, priests, and scribes over centuries, approximately 12,000 BCE to 165 BCE. Stories like Genesis, Exodus, and Psalms were based on oral traditions influenced by Mesopotamia, Canaanite, and Egyptian myths. Parallels between Noah's flood and the Epic of Gilgamesh. Compiled during and after the Babylonian exile in the 6th century BCE by Jewish priests like Ezra. The New Testament, written in Greek between 50 CE and 100 CE by early Christian authors like Paul, epistles, unknown authors of the Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and others. Who standardized the Bible? Emperor Constantine in the Council of Nicaea. Constantine the Great, the Roman Empire who legalized Christianity throughout the Edict of Milan and sought to unify Christianity to the church. Okay, so like I said, none of the books that we have today are the original books. They are very different. And when you get into all of this stuff, you do understand that it was really taken from Egypt. So it is important to understand and to study Egypt and that kind of stuff if you're into this stuff. Let's get into how you can find the 12 zodiac signs throughout our Bible and how it is going to be referenced over and over and over, right? You'll see this, especially if you just start to study this stuff. And I want to start by talking about the Lord's Prayer and how it really is talking about all 12 of the zodiac signs. And I find this one the most interesting to me. So, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Aries, cerebrum, the sun. Aries, I am. Thy kingdom come, which is Taurus, is the kingdom, the bull, groundness. Thy will be done, Gemini, messenger, or the doer of will of God. On earth, Cancer. Cancer is the sister of earth and the ovaries of the world, representing earth. As in heaven, right? Sun rules heaven, gives us our daily bread. Virgo, she's serving humanity with bread. Harvest month. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us, right? Libra, the balance, the scales. Lead us not to temptation. Scorpio, what do you always hear about Scorpios? They rule the genital area. Temptation, it just makes so much sense. Deliver us from evil. Sagittarius, deliverer, shoots your enemies, right? The arrow. For thine is the kingdom. Capricorn, the house and state, the kingdom. The power, Aquarius, very electrical, right? They're the electrical signs. Glory, Pisces, the last sign. Completion, everything is glorified forever and ever. The sun is also Leo too. It represents Leo as well. Okay, so I thought that one was the most interesting, but let's just get into some more because there's so much more. In Genesis 1:14, he says, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years." The lights refers to celestial bodies, including the sun, moon, and stars, which astrologically govern time and human behavior. The zodiac is implied as celestial map that divides the year into 12 parts. The 12 tribes and their 12 zodiac signs. In Genesis 49, Jacob's blessing on his 12 sons are often aligned with the zodiac. You have the 12 tribes of Israel, Genesis 49, the 12 disciples of Jesus, Matthew 10, 2-4, 12 gates of New Jerusalem, Revelation 21 through 12, and Revelation 12:1. Remember when she had the crown with the stars? So, woman clothed with sun, the moon, under her feet, and a crown of 12 stars. The sun, the moon, and the 12 zodiacs. Ezekiel's vision, right? He had a vision of 4 living creatures with faces. And what were the faces that he said he saw? He said he saw a lion, a bull, a man, and an eagle. What does that represent? So lion is Leo. Taurus is the bull. Aquarius is man, right? The man with the picture. And Scorpio is the eagle. And these are talking about the 4 fixed signs. So when you get into astrology, you understand that we have fixed signs. And that's what this is talking about. And I find that amazing as well. But Job 38 through 32, he's talking about the Mazzaroth, right? He mentions Mazzaroth. And Mazzaroth in Hebrew literally means zodiac. And some of the books I wanted to let you guys know about real quick, and I meant to do that in the beginning, and I'm sorry, but these are great books to get into if you want to learn just about decoding the Bible, right? I'm not talking about anything else, but really getting into how they break this all down so perfectly and so wonderful. First one is God Man by God, I always forget who that one's written by, and I don't have that written down. But anyways, just look up the God Man, and you'll see it was written a long time ago. But The Witness of the Stars by E.W. Bullinger, Astrotheology by Jan Irvin, The Gospel and the Zodiac by Bill Darlison, and he has multiple other books as well. Signs in the Sky by Adrian Gilbert, and The Zodiac and the Bible by Joseph A. Seuss. And he also has a lot of books. Very good books if you want to get into this stuff and just understand this. But yeah, so another interesting thing to me is, and I want to look at this together, and actually maybe when I edit this, I can put the picture up there so that it will make more sense. But I did save them. So I want to talk about Da Vinci's work a little bit, and how not just can you find this stuff throughout the Bible and understand that it's talking about the 12 zodiac signs, but it all makes sense when you start to look at these famous artists, Michelangelo, Da Vinci. And I want to talk about the Last Supper for a second. And I'm going to put the picture up there, so I'm going to look off my phone and just go off it as well. But you'll see that Jesus is in the middle, right? And around him is the 12 zodiacs, and it starts with Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo. It literally goes in order, right? Virgo is the only one that is a female in the picture, and then it goes to Scorpio, Libra, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And the very cool thing that's really, really interesting that he even did in this painting, and they were just so brilliant, he even grouped them up between the seasons, right? So spring, he made sure to put Aries, Taurus, Gemini together. For summer, he made sure to put Cancer, Libra, or Leo and Virgo together, grouped together. For fall, he put Scorpio, Libra, and Sagittarius together. For winter, he put Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And I thought that was amazing, so ahead of his time, and that is why it's so just important to understand this, because then that stuff makes more sense. Another thing that's really, really interesting is, the Sistine Chapel. They hired Michelangelo to paint the mural, The Creation of Adam, in the 1500s. And I thought it was interesting, because why would they want this specific painting up there, right? And it's because they very much know the hidden knowledge, and this stuff intrigues them. And so I'm also going to put a picture of that up there, hopefully. So The Creation of Adam, right? It's so brilliant. People never focus on the brain. And, I talked about how the 12 zodiac signs is not just talking about the zodiac signs. It is talking about the 12 cranial nerves in your brain, right? As above, so below. And when we get into the Bible, you understand that it's teaching meditation, and it's teaching how to move to the right part of your brain. And if you look up right now what the left part of your brain and what the right part of your brain does, the left part is more logical, more what you do in your everyday life, and the right side will tell you that it's the spiritual side. It's how to reach meditation. It is the part where the artistic side and the intuitive side. And the Bible is telling you, every time it references the east or sits at the right hand side of God, right? Anytime it says right or east, it's talking about the right hemisphere of the brain, right? We can get into the covenant, the arcs, it's talking about those are the two hemispheres of the brain. And I'll save another day to get into those stories, but the whole Bible is teaching you how to reach higher consciousness, how to reach Christ consciousness. And the only way to do that is to silence the mind, right? To move out of the left part of your brain to the right part of your brain. And the Creation of Adam very much explains that. It is so beautifully done. And it is a picture, for those of you that are not really looking at the screen, but it is a picture of Jesus in a brain with 12 people surrounding him, which is symbolic for the 12 cranial nerves, right? That's why he has the picture of the brain there. And he's reaching out with the finger, and he's reaching out to man, right? And I wrote some notes on what I think it is. So it's about man's potential within the discovery of himself, right? conscious decision to seek beyond the mundane. Because we are the microcosm of the macrocosm, there is always a metaphor for as above, as below. And if you look at the picture, the guy is barely trying to reach, right? He's just like chilling. He's just like, yeah, whatever. I don't care that you're trying so hard to reach me with your finger. And that just goes to show just how much man and people will be so okay with whatever they've been told, and they don't care, right? If you try to bring up this kind of conversation with them, they dismiss it immediately. People are so okay with just being told everything and never looking past the mundane and what we've been told our whole lives. And that's really what this image is symbolic of. And it's so beautiful and so powerful. But yeah, I don't want to make today's video too long. I just thought it was interesting to share a little bit about that, talk about the Vatican a little bit. I'm going to run through really quickly of all the rest of the symbolic meaning of 12 and how you can find it over and over and over within the Bible, and that it means the 12 zodiac signs and the 12 cranial nerves, okay? So we talked about the 12 tribes of Israel, Genesis 49, and also Exodus 24:4, the 12 apostles of Jesus, the 12 gates of the New Jerusalem, the 12 stones on the high priest breastplate, Exodus 28:21, the 12 baskets of leftovers after the feeding of the 5,000, Matthew 14:20. These are just some of the things, guys, and I highly, highly recommend looking into the books and all the books that I mentioned. Trust me, you don't have to have a ton of money to go buy these books. The free PDF version is available for you. Go to Archive Library and you will find all of these books that I'm talking about. And my favorite thing to do is to look into books written before the 2000s and the 1900s, 1800s, because when you get into this stuff, a lot of people will try to tell you, oh, it's new age, it's just new stuff. And I love to school people and to let them know that no, this was very much known and talked about, just suppressed, right? They didn't have social media and TikTok like we do to be able to talk as fast and get information out as much as we do. All they could do is write a book, and that book would get suppressed, right? But people were so ahead of their time back in the day, so woke. The original teachings, the esoteric knowledge that people knew and were taught was way different than what we know now. And that's really just what I'm trying to get to the bottom of and explain, that they were very much into alchemy and energy, and they knew all of this stuff, okay? So you can't believe everything that you've been told. Go within, go into meditation. That is the real key. Don't do so much reading. Do more inner work, right? Close the closet up. That's what he's talking about when he talks about prayer. Go within and don't pray, but try to sit silently, right? Get through the chatter phase of meditation. Take time every single day to go within yourself and to, seek that inner knowledge. And I promise you it will come through. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video. I'm going to make another one this week just because I'm so pumped up. But yeah, if you're not already, follow my TikTok, Ashley Eckerly _ and I hope that you guys go look into these books, seeing as how the free PDF is online. But yeah, y'all have a good week.